Hey, what's happening, guys? I'm here with Alan. What's up, Alan?
What's up?
And Alan and I are going to take a visit to the past. So a while ago, I made this video before I had 103 subs, where I made a Deno server in under 10 minutes, where you could fetch users, query for a single user, or create a new user. And now I wanted to do the same thing in Clojure, but I didn't want to actually do it. So Alan, can you show us how it's done?
I can show you how I would do it. We're going to start with Ring. It's going to keep it simple. Ring is the request and response specification that is very commonly used. Clojure land. We're just going to use Jetty with Ring to keep it very simple. So
Jetty is the server and Ring is the library that will help organize the requests and responses.
yeah, it will help us communicate with the server. So I'm just going to bring in this extra dependency. The main one we're after is Ring itself. I guess the main one is also the server. Kind of need that. So here we go. Let's paste it in there. Then we want Ring.
Cool. So just before we continue, you've just made a basic line project, and this is the project CLJ.
Yeah, just line new app.
Cool.
Simple as that. Okay, so we've got those two things. Now, just with this stuff, we'll be able to start a web server. We won't be able to do any routing or pretty much anything. We'll just be able to run a handler function, and that's it.
Listen on a port, and then return something.
Listen on a port, run a function when a request comes in, and return something back. So I'm just starting the REPL. Let's see if we can find the bare minimum.
Yeah.
There's the very bare minimum. First we'll grab the handler. You're going to need that. Then we'll grab the function that actually starts the web server. Paste that. See, I've forgotten to require anything. So it's like, can't work without us requiring something. So we'll just grab this. Need to wrap that in square brackets. And then we'll give it an alias. I'll call it Ring Jetty. There'll be a lot of typing involved here. Let's just execute that. There we got our dependency, so let's just update it here. Okay. Let's execute this function. Now, if I execute this, now it's going to start the web server. Let's just wrap it in a function called start so that I can just call that.
Okay, yeah, you don't want it to, when you start the REPL, to just start the server.
Yeah.
You want to run the start function. Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be useful to just start it when we start the REPL. But then if we want to run our application through this main function call, it wouldn't do anything. It would just exit. It wouldn't start the web server. So we'll just create start and that's it. So let me just execute all of this. So let's grab our REPL. And I'll call start. And there we go. So it started on, does it tell us the port? Yeah, port 3000.
Cool.
And go to Postman. We can create a new thing. Okay,
cool.
So there we get hello world. So our web server's running. Okay, now we make profit. That's about it.
Cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Yeah, done. Okay, so now we need routing. So I've chosen rate it.
Write it.
I'm not Finnish, so I can't pronounce the words.
Read it.
Yeah, read it. That's like, I like that. Okay, so we'll just grab the dependency. If we go to project, let's add it. Now, we're going to have to do some content negotiation. We're going to need to convert our data structures to and from things like EDN or JSON or whatever we want. So the way we're going to do that is with this library called Muuntaja.
Yeah, so I suppose that's like an important thing, is that like when you send requests to a server, the libraries don't automatically just understand JSON, and they can't just automatically pass it to a usable structure in the language. There's always going to be some sort of from the JSON string into the actual language syntax.
If I think back to when I've used other languages, it's quite common that you would, maybe this kind of stuff would be included in the router. But in Clojure, it's very common for libraries to be broken up into very small pieces, which is cool. The libraries have less complexity because they only do one thing a lot of the time. Not all of the time.
Yeah, but that's like kind of the Clojure philosophy, is like small components with focused.
Yeah, so there we've got our router and we've got our content negotiation library. So we can go back to our other file. So how to use the router. I've gone through all of this and I found a nice example in their documentation that kind of has everything we want for what we want to do in this video, and a whole bunch of other things we don't really want to do in this video. So I'm just going to grab this, just delete a whole bunch of stuff and simplify it.
Cool. Yeah.
And then we'll use it. Wrong way. Yeah, so we're not going to need our handler anymore because this is going to replace our handler. The router is going to create a handler for us that we'll pass to the web server.
Yeah, cool. So it's wrapped, the router is wrapped in the ring handler, which then is bound to the app variable, and you'll pass app through to JT.
So I just need to grab a couple of these namespaces. Actually, I won't grab all of them because I'm going to make a big mess. I'll grab one at a time. So that one, wrong way again. Coercion, we're not going to need. Spec, we're not going to need. This we've already got. So we'll just need this one.
Muuntaja, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first thing we can do is update the handler to app, because that's what it's called.
Yeah, and then I see like all the parameters and stuff, that's using the spec in coercion. Like you don't...
Yeah. Summary is quite nice, but I guess we don't need that. So here, this looks like this is some coercion going on. So it's saying that these parameters should be an int, which is quite useful, but we won't be doing that. Responses, I'm not sure. I guess this is maybe checking to see if it is in fact an int, if the response is an int. Maybe it's also coercing it, not too sure. So the handler, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to write a handler and just put it here, like this, instead of the map. But we don't have the handler yet, so
cool.
I'll just put it like that.
Handler to be...
And it'll be underlined in red, just to tell me.
Yeah.
So I think we can just keep this as reference. We'll get rid of this one in its entirety. And then we'll just extend it. This stuff we can get rid of, not using it. Okay, there we go. So,
right, okay.
Looks like we're missing a dependency over here. Let's go see where we can find that. Okay, Here we go. Knew it was here somewhere. Okay, so that looks like we got everything we need.
Yeah, I think we just need to wrap that in square braces.
Yes, and alias it. My bad. Confusing.
Yeah, these namespaces.
Yeah, M for the library, then the name of the library for
the
middleware namespace in the other library. But that's cool. All right, so let's have a look at what we want this to do. Return string on base URL.
Yeah, I think I just had mine return like okay or something. How's it?
Let's try that. So I think think what we can do is we can go like this. I think what we'll do is just
comment that out.
actually let's just try it. You know, let's see. This is not interested in what you give it, and it's going to return. I don't think you have to return this status. I think it will default to 200, but
Okay.
we'll still return it.
Ah, dude, so sweet.
All right, so that's cool. So let's hope that will work. Maybe we'll give it a quick test. I'll just copy this and put it here. Bit of sorcery.
Okay.
So we'll just go to the base, and then we should get on the code again, and then we'll be happy
Then we'll
champions.
be on the code again. On code again.
Yeah. So we'll start the REPL, and we'll try our luck. Just
Cool, yeah. So basically what you did there was take your undefined method and just switch it with the method that you know is defined.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Clojure will be too happy with,
Yeah.
you know, the undefined one. So let's get the REPL buffer.
Ooh.
Say what? Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just execute this. No.
Unable to resolve
Right,
simple
let-
start. No namespace Muuntaja.
Ah, look at that.
Okay. Okay, so Clojure is a stickler for spelling.
Yeah. You know, you think like with AI and things these days, I think it would just work.
Need to use tab 9, dude.
All right. Now, let's put a slash in for fun. Come on. You see the wheels, they're off. Response map.
I say get.
So if we can just see. Okay.
Okay, it just prefixes it, but it doesn't allow you to use it. Like, do you have to have a
So-
blank string below it? Yeah. Okay, I was thinking the other way around. Do you think that'd make a difference? / and then blank.
I think the other way around would be fine too. Yeah, let's try that. So then okay, let's try this. So we've just made the next item in this top level vector another vector instead of a handler.
Yeah.
Are we going to see on the code again? Yeah. Will he vanish?
Okay, sweet. Cool. Okay.
Okay, nice. So the first goal has been reached. Return a string on the base URL. Okay. So next one, return list of users. So we need a place to put this list, first of all. Just going to make an atom,
Cool.
which will be a map of these users, indexed by ID. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So atom is basically a way to bind variable to it, like bind data to a variable name, and then update that data.
Yeah, so you use swap and reset to change what's in the atom, and then you can dereference the atom to get the value of it.
Cool.
I should probably call this users. Yeah. So we can't really return a list of users if we don't have a user.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to do post to user first.
Okay, cool.
So that's we just want users. and post. So we put that after our first one.
Create
so we'll just call this create user. How did you know?
I don't know, like foreshadowing.
So the user is going to be a map. It's going to come from the client. And then we want to grab what's in that user, put it in our atom.
Yeah.
So in the request, in the body of the request, we're going to put this map. So this router is going to, and it's not just this router, I think there are a few others I've used that put body parameters in a key in the request called body params.
Yeah.
So we can destructure that. And try. So now, create user is going to get the request. Let's just update this. Okay, it's going to be past the request. We're going to grab body params out of this request.
So that function create user is taking in a request. It's basically a map. One of the keys in the map is called body params, and body params is what you've destructured like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So what we can do, if we want it to be a bit easier to understand, maybe what we do is we go user. That should name body params user.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the user, I mean, we're not really specifying what keys are in the user. We're just going to write anything that is sent to us.
Yeah, just assume it's...
We're not going to go...
Yeah, we're going to assume the data is fine. It's just going to be a name.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this route here, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to test to see if I'm destructuring this properly. And that's what's nice about having a REPL. I can just do that right here. So... All right.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Okay,
so
cool.
yeah. So cool.
So yeah, because that object is kind of what you expect the structure of the request to look like.
Yeah.
Once you pass to that.
Yeah. This route here, we want to get the user by an ID, which means the user needs an ID. So we'll give this user an ID right here. Let's just associate the ID right into the user. And to get the ID, I think we'll use a UUID. What is it now? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we've got a user with an ID. We want to put that user in our atom. That's what's kind of nice about swap. We want this to be indexed by this ID. So actually, let me just alias this ID.
So you want to have a map where the ID is the key and the user, which would be the ID and the name, is the value.
Exactly. So that we can just, like when it comes to the route where we want to look up the user, we can just look it up.
Yeah.
So this function, I'll finish that swap call now. This function is going to output a UUID, an instance of a UUID. So we don't really want that. We want a string. So let's just convert it to a string. Whoops. So this should be what we're looking for. Yeah, so that's just a string.
Okay, cool. Are you just running that inline in the REPL?
Yeah, so you can see I'm just putting my cursor right there, and then it runs the previous S expression. So,
oh, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's cool. So we're going to swap. We're going to swap the user's atom. We're going to associate something in at the ID, and that thing we're going to put in is the user. So now the user doesn't have the ID in it, which is a bit of a problem.
Again.
Yeah. So I suppose I could just do it here, but I think what I'm going to do is pull that out of there, and then I'm going to use the thread last. So I guess this is what I did earlier, and then I undid it. Yeah. Okay.
the third last macro is associating the ID with the ID in the user map. So you're creating a new map with basically ID mapped to the value of the ID. Then that value, like if it were a variable, let's say user, would be the last argument passed to the swap function, but it's unnamed. It's like an anonymous variable.
Yeah, kind of. You could think of it like that. So I'm just going to test it. So now this is our user. It's old John. He's on our system. Okay, so there you can see. So now what you're seeing is the atom. You're seeing the atom after the value has been swapped into it. So it's indexed by the ID. Then we've got our user named John, and the user also has the ID.
Cool.
Now you can see the atom will still hold it now. So I can dereference users. And it's the same thing.
Okay, rad. So like if you now ran that same function with like Susan or something, Susan would be added to the users.
Check it out. So there we got both.
Cool.
All right, so we know that, well, it's working in the REPL. Okay, so for user here, we've got post request, create user. So it should work. So we can create our user now. So maybe now we can return our list of users. I named this wrong. Okay, let's just fix that. Users. So returning the list, it's the same route, but be a get. So just name that get users. Now we can just so this is going to receive the request, but we don't really care what's in it because we're just going to return all the users all of the time. So we'll just do that.
The underscore, you have to have get users has to take in the request. It can't not take in the request. So to show that you don't need it, you just name the variable underscore or the argument underscore. And to dereference the atom, you have to prefix it with an at. Yeah,
so the web server is running, but these routes won't have updated in the web server. If they had updated, we could get the contents of users now because we added users to it through the REPL.
Yeah.
But we won't be doing that because when I restart the REPL, those users will be lost. Okay, I think we can look at the ID one now and then we'll
test everything
give it all a test. Yeah. So this is a different route. I wonder if I should just change the order of this. This is certainly a less specific route.
One would say.
Okay, so now we're looking at users and then we've got an ID. And like here we haven't specified a method, an HTTP method. So I think here we probably don't have to do one either because we'll just return a list of users no matter what you do.
Cool.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, or a user rather, not a list of users. So get user by ID. And now we're going to take in the request and we're going to want the ID, which is in the path.
Yeah.
So like I can't remember exactly what key it's in. So let's just take the request and let's just return the request. Actually, if I just return the request as the response, a large map, so we'll pretty print it instead. And then we'll just return nothing. Because like we just want a pretty print. We don't really care what we're going to get in the client.
So you're going to print this out in the REPL and then sweet.
Then I'm going to have a look and see what we got. Okay, so we'll just restart it and then let's go to Postman and see I've maybe done this before. Just get that ready. Okay,
cool.
Nothing
back.
Okay, here we go. Look, we know it's in the path, right? So there's path. There's path. Path. Lots of paths.
There we go. Path
Look at
params.
that. Path params, and then you've got the name of the parameter and the value. All right. So out of this request, we've got something called path params. Inside of that is a map with the ID. So you grab the ID out of the map like that.
You're destructuring the value on the left. So like the create user at the top, is user body param. So now you're saying basically path params and then destructuring that value again on the left. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so the way I remember which side to put the value, if you know what I mean, with this destructuring, is I always think about a let. Because in a let, you have the name of the thing and you have the value.
Okay.
So here you have the value and the name. So it's on the same side. It's on the left.
Okay.
So here you can see the value of path params will be to the left. And then I pull out ID.
Cool.
So our user atom is just a map indexed by ID. So in order to get the user at that ID, we just want to get something at the ID. So we can just get our users at the ID. No errors.
That's good. I think it's going to work.
Okay, so yeah, so first thing
we're
going to post.
Okay.
We're going to post to users because we want to create something. Wait, but before we do that, we want, okay, hold on. We want to set the content type so that our library Muuntaja knows what to do with the data we're giving it. Okay, we're going to do EDN just because it's easier for me to type than JSON. It's simple.
Raw.
Okay, raw, yeah. So name, John returns. Okay, we're going to post to users, and we get a 200, but no response.
Did we return the user once we created it? Oh, we did.
Yeah. But you see, I didn't wrap it in that map. So we can quickly fix that. We can just go like this.
It needs the body.
Exactly, yeah. So then we just assign it to users. We'll add the status again. We'll add the body users. Okay. I told you it wasn't going to work first time.
Well, it did work. It just didn't behave as expected.
Just didn't return. I should have left it running because then we could have hit the users. Could have done a get on the users and seen if we got anything back. Okay, now let me see. I haven't even switched buffers. I'm just getting excited here.
This is going to be cool. I'm amped.
Getting ahead of myself.
I've got Zuckerberg on speed dial too. Yeah.
Just don't show him this video. All right, cool. So this is what we want to see. This is the user, our map of users. So let's add another user, just because we can. Okay, we've got two users.
John and Susan.
Yeah. So now we'll swap this to a get. We can just get rid of that. And
is it not the same issue with the body? Yeah,
it is the same issue. Okay, you see this is because I've been repelling so nice, but my repelling.
Boydie.
When I was using it in the REPL, I wasn't thinking like ring things.
Yeah. But I mean, I suppose it's interesting that a function can work, but then like you've wrapped it in other functions.
Yeah. Yeah, there's these other expectations that you don't think about.
Yeah.
This is kind of like how I code. Lots of feedback, lots of mistakes.
Me watching you.
Yeah, I mean, my boss is always asking why that guy's always watching me code. I'm just like, no, man, that's how I do it.
You do know it has 103 subscribers.
Okay, so we're going to add John again. But this time only John, because I'm getting tired of typing this stuff all over and over again.
Yeah, I just need to switch it to post. Cool.
Right.
Sweet. Now let's get John.
By John.
Cool.
John is still there. Okay. We're gonna.
Well, he was still there last time.
It's true.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't show himself. Okay, we're gonna need this ID because we're gonna do the get users and the ID.
Awesome. The least exciting responses
Amazing.
of a web server ever.
Yeah. But there is something we can do that will make it extremely exciting. This is going to blow your mind. So this is in JSON, right?
Yeah.
What would you like it to be in?
XML.
Anything, as long as it's EDN. No, it can't be XML. Sorry. Okay, so except over here we got anything. So if we're going to accept EDN. Aha.
Yeah. So that is really
that's
cool.
that library. Yeah.
That is really cool because it means if you're writing a Clojure script application, you just change your accept headers and then you don't have to pass JSON to Clojure script. It can just read it in as native Clojure data structures.
Exactly, yeah. So we can try XML. I'm sure the library can do it. It may need more setup.
Ah.
Yeah. This is a strange looking XML. But anyway,
it's like
you get the picture.
It's like you don't use XML. Just
yeah.
If you wanted XML, like you shouldn't have wanted it.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that does everything your other video did.
Yeah, this is cool.
Maybe more work.
I don't think it was more work. In essence, it's actually the same. I think what you can do with the roots, like being able to handle the get and post by the same name. You don't have to redeclare write the same string again.
Yeah, that is nice. I think you would find simpler routing libraries. But what I really like about this library is how you can pass in arbitrary data. Because in the past I've hacked things together with like Composure. I can't remember if it was actually Composure, but it's just been a thing in the past I've fought against. You know, wanting to pass in all sorts of things, like maybe roles, just whatever you want. I think it'll make your life much easier if you use this in a big project. The one thing I would add would probably be mount or something like integrant. I prefer mount, but I would add that so that I don't have to keep restarting the REPL. But yeah, once you have that, I mean, you don't even need that for it to be production ready. It can just go like this.
Yeah.
But that would make your life
a lot easier. That would be development ready.
that exactly would be development ready.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks. I think this is really cool. I think it's really handy to get up and running quite quickly. I think that was a quick start to it.
Yeah, sweet.
Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
I'll try. Cheers.
Cheers.